All right, a potentially bumpy night ahead for the Mahoning and Shenango Valleys. Hey everyone, it's Eric here with Weather for Weather Geeks. We're going to detail the timing and possible severity of our overnight storms, of course, in this video. But, first, our forecast busted for part of the day today. We had some clouds, and we even had some fog in some parts of the area at the start of the day. This time-lapse video is from our Canfield Fairgrounds camera showing the pea soup at the start of the day. Areas that did have some heavier thunderstorms yesterday did have the better chance of fog this morning, but yeah, some pesky clouds even sprinkled in a few spots this morning. But as expected, it did turn into a sunny afternoon, and temperatures responded to that sunshine. 81 officially the high today at the Youngstown Warren Regional Airport, 82 over in Akron, 84 New Philly, 82 in Pittsburgh, and I think tomorrow has a good chance of being 3 or 4 degrees warmer than this. I think tomorrow afternoon has a good chance across the region as a whole of being the warmest afternoon of 2025 so far. But let's not bury the lead here. Let's talk in detail about our expectations for storms overnight. As of this recording, a little after 7 o'clock Eastern, we have tornado watches out for parts of Illinois, a few counties in Indiana, and then up into Wisconsin as well. There's been a lot of severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings in these watch boxes thus far today. A lot of this activity up here is going to miss us to the north, but this emerging line down here in Illinois, this is what's going to come across like this and potentially impact our area in about 9 hours or so. This is going to be, as we've been talking about, a very, very early morning event for us. So the Storm Prediction Center, with their final severe weather outlook for today, did keep the enhanced risk level 3 of severe weather out for places like Chicago, Grand Rapids, Milwaukee, Green Bay, even as far east as almost to the Toledo area and almost to the Lima area in northwest Ohio. That enhanced risk is out. And just a reminder, and chances are if you're watching this video, you have some weather savviness, but just a reminder anyway of what these outlooks really mean. A level 2 risk, the slight risk, is what we are under in eastern Ohio and western PA, and that basically means there's higher confidence in storms producing damaging wind gusts and hail, and the tornado potential is there. It's usually, if it's a real big tornado threat, you're going to see a risk category higher than slight, but a slight risk usually indicates that there is at least some tornadic potential. In our area, climatologically speaking, we're in a slight risk 20 to 25 times per year. Now, once you get above slight, enhanced and higher, that becomes much more rare territory. 1 to 3 times per year on average are we in an enhanced risk, level 3, level 4 and 5. Very, very rarely, if ever, happen around here. All right, so the timing. We're going to be fine this evening. It's as we head through the overnight tonight that thunderstorm chances will increase after about 2 or 3 a.m. This is the latest run of our high-res model, and this is kind of an interesting trend that we'll watch over the next couple of hours. We get an update on this high-resolution modeling every hour, so we get a fresh run of this same model every single hour. And the most recent run is fairly unimpressive. It does have some storms rolling through far northeast Ohio, northwest PA, maybe during the 3 o'clock hour. After that, yeah, some scattered storms. Any of these could be strong, but it's not the most impressive-looking structure in the world. It's not like the near derecho that impacted parts of eastern Ohio a couple of weeks ago. It doesn't look as impressive as that on the most recent run of our modeling. But that's just one run of one model. As meteorologists, both in the television business and at the National Weather Service, private entities, we all look at many different weather models when we try to ascertain what is going to happen. So nonetheless, we do have a heightened risk of damaging wind gusts. Hail is something that can be generated in this kind of a setup, even at night. Hail, damaging winds, all types of severe weather is typically, of course, more common during the afternoon and the evening. But when you have a setup like this one, strong, what we call warm advection, a strong warm front lifting in, storms can maintain their strength, or at least try to, well into the night. And because of the timing, we always remind you of some good tips here when it comes to overnight severe weather. A lot of us will try to sleep through this. And so it's a good idea to make sure your devices are charged up or charging when you go to bed, because it's possible we'll have a scattering of power outages later on tonight. I lost power at my house for 2 days, 48 hours, a couple of weeks ago. So I don't wish that on anyone. That was no fun at all. So just in case, whether you lose power for a handful of minutes or maybe a handful of hours, it's a good idea to make sure that the most critical things are charged up, including, of course, medical devices. Make sure you can be woken up in case of a particularly bad situation. If we do have tornado warnings, and I don't want to rule that out, You want to make sure that you can be woken up by those. A lot of us sleep with a phone next to our bed on our nightstand these days, and make sure that you have the alerts turned on in the Storm Tracker 21 app. Make sure your phone is not in Do Not Disturb or silent mode or anything like that, so that you can actually be woken up and hear any severe weather warnings that are issued. Now, as we go into Friday and Friday night, another round of pretty bumpy weather is pretty likely. This time it's more to our southwest instead of our northwest. Notice there's a level 4 risk, that's a moderate risk, of severe weather in the lower Ohio River Valley, southern Indiana, parts of Kentucky, parts of southern Illinois. Today, the Storm Prediction Center, with their Day 2 outlook, that includes Friday and Friday night, did bump the slight risk a little farther to the north. That being said, this is a tougher call in our part of the region for potentially round 2 tomorrow night. Some of the modeling shows almost nothing tomorrow night. Some of the modeling suggests that we have another risk of heavier storms. Here's one computer model showing, of course, sunshine for the bulk of Friday. We're going to be off to the races temperature-wise on Friday, getting up into the mid-80s, probably the warmest day of the year so far. And I'll slowly go forward then into the late afternoon and evening. Heavy thunderstorms, a wind threat, a hail threat, an isolated tornado threat out in here, Cincinnati, Louisville, Evansville, places like that, late in the afternoon, early in the evening on Friday. Now, this model keeps all of that activity to the south. It has almost nothing for northeast Ohio and western Pennsylvania late Friday night. That is possible. That solution, has some validity to it. There are other models that look like this, but some of our other weather modeling would suggest that some of this activity to the south creeps north, and also we see maybe some activity breaking out near this approaching cold front out here. This model does not have that idea, but some modeling does. So we've got a pretty, if you check our hourly forecasts on the Storm Tracker 21 app, we have some pretty high hourly chances of precipitation in our official forecasts for overnight tomorrow night and before daybreak on Saturday. But that forecast is a tough one at this point. We may have to back off of those relatively high rain and storm chances if the modeling trends in the direction of what I'm showing you right here. Either way, we have this front coming our way on Saturday, and the message remains the same for the weekend as a whole. The weekend as a whole will be dry, but right around lunchtime on Saturday, with the approach of this front, could there be a quick 5 or 10 minute shower or even a thunder shower? That's possible, but the chances of any one location seeing rain are low. I know it's mid-May and we've got graduation parties and weddings and all sorts of things that people want to do outdoors, particularly on the weekend at this time of the year. So the forecast is an important one, and it might rain in your location for 15 minutes or something like that around lunchtime Saturday, but most of the day will be fine. Now, it's going to turn chilly late in the day. This front is a pretty potent one, so we'll probably spike into the mid-70s around midday, but as we go towards late afternoon, especially into the evening, the last couple of hours of daylight, I think it'll be noticeably colder outside as temperatures drop quickly back into the 50s and eventually the 40s in some parts of the area overnight Saturday night. This blanket of clouds that probably pushes in later in the day, I think we're going to have those clouds for a lot of the day Sunday, and there'll be a chill in the air on Sunday. We've got 64 in our Sunday forecast. That might even be a little optimistic. I could see where if the clouds roll in fast enough Sunday morning, I could see where we're no higher than 60 or 61 on Sunday. So that's kind of the ghost of Christmas future, because cool weather will definitely dominate as we head into next week. So the weekend number, 74 Saturday, that's probably a midday high. We'll be in the 50s by dinner time in a lot of places Saturday evening. And then 64 if we're optimistic on Sunday, with certainly more clouds than sun from the midday into the afternoon. It's going to stay cooler than the average anyway, through just about all of next week and probably right through Memorial Day weekend. See previous editions of Weather for Weather Geeks with some analysis of the late May trends. We're going to talk briefly as we wrap up this video about the upcoming summer season, today being the 15th of the month, the Climate Prediction Center. That's part of NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They put out their updated summer outlook. Here's the temperature outlook. It is not going to be a cool summer anywhere across the lower 48 states. A cooler than average summer is not favored anywhere. Locally, I think odds favor it being a warmer than average summer, but will it be one for the record books? Will it rival some of our real hot summers? I kind of doubt that. But I do think it'll come out in the wash as a warmer than average season. In terms of precipitation, we don't see any real strong signals either way. We got into a pretty deep drought in parts of Ohio, especially the southeastern part of the state, last year during late spring, summer, and then into early fall. I don't see a repeat of that happening this year. Precipitation should be a little more plentiful, especially in those areas that had the exceptional drought designation for a time last year in southeast Ohio. So I think precipitation will be more plentiful than it was last summer in some parts of the region. We are concerned for farmers and growers out here across the Corn Belt. That's going to be a hot, dry summer out there, and that could lead to lower than average yields for corn and soybeans and things like that. All right, long video this evening, lots to keep track of. Make sure you stay weather aware as we go through the overnight. Again, make sure your devices are charged before bed. Those loose outdoor items are secured before bedtime tonight. Maybe we get away without any severe weather, but it's certainly possible that between about 3 and 6 a.m., we have some storms that mean some business across our area. Jimmy Wendelek will have you covered tomorrow morning, bright and early on WFMJ today, starting at 5 a.m. Make it a great rest of your Thursday night. I'll see you back here on Friday.